Hi, my name is Jeremy. This is Red Means Recording, and today I wanted to do a little video about something that I get asked about a lot, and that is how do you come up with chords? This is kind of an introduction to that, sort of more about just the basic of chords, the basics of the major triad, and how I think about the major triad when I walk around it on the keyboard and do stuff with it. A quick explainer on my extent of musical theory. I was a classical flautist from elementary school up until the first year of college. I was on track to be a music performance major. I learned a lot of theory while I was taking private lessons and doing symphony and stuff like that as a youngin', but I dropped out of my music performance major my first year. So I never really got super deep into theory classes in college. So please bear with me if I'm using the wrong language or I'm not explaining things perfectly. I'm going to explain it the best I can with my musical knowledge. And yeah, hopefully it helps you out. So what is a chord? We're going to focus on C major triad, which is made of 3 notes from the C major scale. The C major scale is, that's C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. All natural, no flats or sharps. So the C major triad, and the major triad for any chord is going to be the tonic, the root note, C, in this case, E, the third, the major third, and G, the perfect fifth. And you get this really pleasant, kind of boring chord. There's a couple ways that you can play this chord. You don't have to play it with C as the root note. You can play it with E as the root note, or G as the root note. That's kind of nice. And as you do that, you can hear that the leading note up here, the note that you kind of hear most, kind of changes. So here you hear the major third, here you hear the tonic again, but it's not the fundamental, and here you hear the perfect fifth. So that's great. Now we know what a major third looks like and sounds like. So when I'm thinking about chords and I sit down and I play a triad, because that's usually how I start, with a triad or a 7th chord, which I'll show off in a bit, I think about how I can move from that chord to something that's going to create tension and create room for a melody. And there's a lot of ways that you can do that. But the thing that led me to want to make this video is I was thinking about the C major chord and just how much you can get from moving one finger in one direction. So let's start diving into that, and I'll show you what I mean. Here's your C major chord. If I move one of these fingers up and down, just one note in the actual scale, as opposed to just one semitone, which is a half step, I have the ability to fundamentally change the sound in a really interesting way in a lot of different ways. So let's start off. Here's a C major. If I move the E up one note to this F here, I get a C major suspended chord. And this is really, really nice. Suspended chords allow you to move with sort of some nice tension between other chords. So that's one way you can move around the C major chord. The other thing about the C suspended chord is that it shares a relationship, now that I've added that F, to F major. Because the F major chord is F, A natural, and C. So you can see I'm one note away from that. So that's pretty nice. Let's move around again. So if I move the G up one, I get an A minor inverted chord. And that's what we call, I believe, when you're playing a version of the chord that doesn't have the name of the chord as its root note. So in the case of C major, you would be playing the C. A minor would normally look like this, but it's an inversion because we have the same notes, A natural, C, and E, but we're playing them in a different order. So you can get some nice major, minor modulation there, which is always kind of a cool thing when you're moving through chords. You'll also see that now I'm one step away from an F major there. So C major, A minor, F major. So we're already getting some cool stuff going on just by moving our fingers around a little bit. All right, so we've done C major, we've done C major sus, we've done A minor. Let's see what else we can do. If I move the E down to a G, oh, too much velocity there. I get a G major suspended chord. And there's the resolution of it. So, suspended, resolution. G major would normally be G, B natural, and D, but I've moved into an inversion of the suspended chord there. And then the resolution is bringing that C down to B natural. So that's pretty nice too. One of my favorite ones coming off of C major is the C major to an inverted E minor chord. And that is moving the C down 1/2 step to B here. So here's our C major. Inverted E minor. That is just so nice. Kind of Twin Peaksy, you know? And then you can go from here to like... all the chords that I just played are chords that I've shown you repositioned across the keyboard. This is something I used to do quite a bit. I used to just move single notes around and see what happened, and then try to figure out the relationship between what I've created and what I had before. If the relationship between the two sounds cool, then I kind of file that away and realize that I can go between these different things. Now, the important thing to understand here is that, like, I'm not just playing the major triad or the minor triad like from its normal position. Almost all of these are inversions, and that's kind of what makes things interesting and brings out the movement and tension between chords for me. So if I was just playing, you know, major triads, I mean, that's pretty nice. But it's kind of hokey, you know? Yeah, it's not quite as interesting to me. So let's make sure that we've gotten all of our inversions here and all of our things that we can do. So we've done C major, we've done C major suspended, we've done G major suspended. Let's see, what else did we do? We did A minor, which is right next to F major. We did not do yet, let's see, what was it? Moving... No, we did that. Oh, this. Okay. So if we go from C major up to moving us to a D here, we get a E minor seventh missing the perfect fifth. So an E minor seventh would be E, G, and B, followed by a D. We take that away, we get that. And that's kind of what we have down here. We're just going to move this down an octave to the D. I love seventh chords. Seventh chords are really, really beautiful. There's a lot you can do with them. I love... It's kind of dreamy, kind of vapor wavy, and it's that tension there. This B natural here is dissonant with this C here. This tension that you would normally get by putting these two next to each other. It's gross, right? But if you put an up an octave and then add the major thing there, it's really, really nice. And what I just did there was move from a C major seventh, and I kept that seventh in the C major scale, and I moved down to F major, and you can hear this whole nother tension that's developed there, which I can resolve by bringing the B natural to the perfect fifth of the F major scale, which is the C. Getting a little ahead of myself, but you know, it's just fun to play these chords. And by the way, this is the DO5, the Roland DO5. I'm using this to make all the wonderful sounds that you're hearing. I'm using preset 225. I saw the light. This thing is a pad machine. It's just wonderful. I love it. So let's kind of wrap this up. I wanted to show you that you can move through one note changes in your scale and have a huge effect in what you do. And I encourage you to play around with this, and once you start moving one finger around, you'll start to hear the tension that you're creating. And some of these won't work. Some of them will need more than one finger moved. But it's a great way to practice listening to your chords and how much you can do with 1 or 2 finger movements. Making small changes and listening to what makes you feel something. That's what all this is about. It's just like, does this make me feel something? That's walking the triad, as I think I'm going to call this video. If this was interesting to you or you have anything to add, please let me know. I'd love to do more videos like this. I don't feel highly qualified, but if this was something that, was useful to people, I might do more. So just let me know. My name is Jeremy. This is Red Beans Recording. Have a wonderful day.